Hello, party people of the world, and those who don't party too. I mean,
also
fine.
Don't live on this world.
And don't live on this world. Today's date is August 19th, 2018. And this is the podcast, which is the first cut. And this is my intro debut, and I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. And this podcast is not safe for work.
It is not. Well done, Evan. Everybody give him a round of applause. He'll hear it, I promise.
Man, my radio job is probably not going to be coming anytime soon.
That's all right. What's up, people? It's been a literal minute.
Yeah.
Been about a week. Oh boy, it's good to be back in black.
Yeah.
Or anything else. Evan, how you doing? This is DannyVNCR and Evan Halfmann, aka Red Llama.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
Doing real good. Doing real good. Just excited to talk about some more bands, man.
Yeah. So today we're going a little heavier than we've done for a little while, since episode 7, I think, was the last heavy episode we did, where we did grindcore. If you haven't seen that one, go do it. It's a really good episode.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Nice.
We had our good friend Drake, Dr. Ake Graves on.
Oh shit, that's right.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
That was a fun one. Go listen to a lot of good bands. But today we're going in that same relative metal vein, but we're going a little bit different. Evan, what is it?
This is Death. It was previously death metal, but
yeah, go ahead.
But Death, we're all about a little more of an umbrella.
Yeah.
Here, generally, when it comes to our picks.
The big thing with this list and why it is death encompassing. God, that sounds like a badass album name. Dibs. Yeah, dude. The big reason it is death encompassing and not death metal, deathcore, or blackened death metal, it actually is kind of all three, or nonetheless, anything else within the greater spectrum of death in metal is it's kind of like Evan said, we like to be a little more all-encompassing, and I think there's kind of certain aspects that live within modern death metal that kind of always seem to take influences from thrash metal or melodic death metal, technical death metal, black metal, or whatever. So it just made more sense for us to say, well, let's not limit it. Let's just call it death, and we'll explain the different feelies as we goes. Yeah,
for sure.
It's a good list.
Yeah, it's a fat and chunky list for sure. Luckily it's something that each time we do an episode and talk about a specific genre, it's not always the case that I'm generally in the mood for that particular genre, but if it's something we picked, it's something I'll listen to and I'll talk about. But luckily, I think my interest in metal has been kind of on the rise lately. It generally does, I think, during the summer. It's just such a time for just chunky guitars. And
I've got a heart boner for death metal.
Yeah, all the death metal.
Also a regular boner.
It's definitely in like our heritage. It's very. It's
what do you mean by that?
Well, yeah. What? Because you have a guitar called Heritage? Called a Heritage.
That's not what I was going to say, but I do.
Yeah.
No, I meant more in like, how did you and I meet, Evan?
Oh, that's right. There was a band.
It was 12 years ago. Sometime 12 years ago, not today, but 12 years ago.
12 years ago. We met and
in high school
and forged an alliance in which we
it's Tenacious D
in which we decided to pluck some guitar strings together and make some noise in a little house in a little town, and you know, we didn't make it very far, but you know what band really does when you're in high school.
No,
but we had a lot of fun, and we wrote a lot of fucking brutal songs.
We made thrash metal by a band called Blinded by Fear.
Oh, yeah.
Taken from the was at the Gates, right? Did that song Blinded by Fear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, speaking of 12 years ago, when I was 12 years old, this kind of nicely works into the fact that, like, I've been kind of on a little bit of a nostalgia trip lately of music that I listened to when I was about 12 years old, so about 2004, I guess. I've been listening to Slipknot actually a lot lately, and dude, I'm remembering like how good Slipknot actually really was.
I will say what you will about Slipknot. If you're like, oh, they're this, that, or whatever, I don't like Slipknot, whatever. If you listen to Iowa and you don't like it,
nasty.
You either don't like metal or we probably won't get along.
You see,
Iowa was fucking
great. You know, so Volume 3 Subliminal Verses, that was the one I really got into. That album actually changed my perception
Iowa
of
is
music.
just so classic.
You know, Iowa is interesting because I never really listened to that much as a kid because my mom didn't allow me to listen to it because I had the parental advisory. And they didn't allow me to buy it at Best Buy because I wasn't old enough.
That was never a problem for me because I had a beard when I was 15.
Yeah, that's right.
That actually is right.
So, anyways, but I've been listening to it recently, going back to it, and it's that album is just raw and chunky and disgusting, and
in all the best ways.
And they're I think they're so unfortunately labeled and chunked into the new metal genre. And now we're getting off into some other territory. I don't want to get too much into that, but anyways, I suffice to say, I've been going back and listening to some older music I listened to a while ago. I think Electric Wizard is also a band I've been listening to.
Oh yeah,
and they're sick. Which of course that's more like a stoner metal, sludge metal, doom metal.
Yeah. Which, just to go on record too, doom metal was almost what this list was. But as much as I like doom metal, and this was my list to do, Evan is considerably more of a doom metal aficionado than I am, and it just didn't feel fair for me to take a genre that ultimately he should do. So I'm sure we'll do a doom metal video eventually, maybe even in the relatively near future. But this one was on death, which is my big cup of tea.
Well, and you know, death metal is, well, I guess we can talk about it when we get into the bands, but death metal is kind of it's never been my favorite thing. It's definitely a very simplistic genre, and it has its sort of core tropes, and a particular death metal band can be good and it can be bad, very much based on just how well they implement these tropes. So that's just kind of how I think about that.
I find myself loving progressive metal truly the most. But I think honestly I love progressive metal so much for its extreme similarities to progressive rock, which is my favorite genre.
Well, yeah, Death and Opeth were are two bands that I've listened to for a while, and of course Death are really important because Chuck Schuldiner and Death, they pioneered death metal, but they also pioneered progressive death metal, which is just so interesting. And rest in peace, Chuck, of course.
R.I.P. in peace, brother.
R.I.P. in peace. And then of course Opeth, just naturally, Opeth are just
one of my favorite bands. They're so good.
Incredible.
Yes.
But anyways,
my big thing is finding good progressive metal on Bandcamp is
the tags are definitely kind of a fallible system.
We tried to do that list a while ago, And it's not that I don't think we won't do it someday, but man, that was like listening to 100 different bands, and maybe we found a couple that were like, this is all right.
Yeah.
That was tough. So hopefully someday we can find some prog metal bands that we really deeply appreciate that are true unsungs. But
yeah, I was actually trying to, like, at work today, because so everyone knows, I work early in the morning, and I
do not work graves. It's a hard part of scheduling these sessions.
So one thing is that's nice about working in the morning is I work when no one's there. I can put in headphones and I can just go on Bandcamp, and I could just sort of discover something and pick it and just listen. And I was trying to find some progressive rock, progressive metal today.
Oh, we've done progressive rock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a lot easier.
But I found a couple things that weren't really hitting the sweet spot. But nevertheless, it's just fun exploring.
That's true.
So, those are my thoughts. I guess we should get the ball rolling.
Yes. So a little bit of quick housekeeping. As you may know, the First Cut is now on its new channel, The First Cut, at YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. Tell your friends, ask them to subscribe, all those fun things. Send us your social security number and blood type. You can send that one to me on Twitter. But I
don't do Twitter anymore.
You don't do Twitter
anymore.
Twitter.
Whoops.
God damn you! You made me forget what I was gonna say. There was something important along those lines.
Well, luckily we're not listening to music right now, so you can jump cut if you.
Oh, right. What I was gonna say was, so we're at our new home. But if you have any suggestions you would like to see for future episodes, feel free to, comment or hit me up on Twitter or whatever, and we'll try and make that happen for you. I think there's a couple. I've talked to a few of our subs. I won't name names right now, but someday I'll give you a shout out. You get us enough views or whatever, I'll give you a shout out. Oh yeah, but I've talked to a few people that want to see lists like lo-fi hip-hop and fun, more buzzy things like that, and those will definitely happen. But, anything you want to see, let us know. Yeah.
That would be definitely super cool. Some feedback, some human connection on the internet.
Evan is so lonely for human connection.
Sickening.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's get into our first pick, shall we?
Sure.
Good thing we're not doing the.
Oh yeah. First band of the list today. Second and Archer. So this album is called Pretext for Exhumation, and the first song is, what is it called?
It's called Hell.
It's called Hell.
It's called Hell.
I'm a little far away from the computer screen, so. Anyways, let's dive into it.
Hell is the intro track.
So this is the I didn't have too many specific thoughts on this band.
This band is more on the core.
Yeah, that's kind of I think what I'm feeling. Yeah, it's kind of like a deathcore. It reminds me of. I mean, how many times do I have to say on this damn podcast stuff that reminds me of from the teenage years? But yeah, it's definitely reminds me of those times. The tendency for pig squeals and the
Whitechapel fucking Chelsea grin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So this is stuff I can get down to. I can get down to it for sure, and I can hurt my neck on it for sure. But
oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's not really the kind of band that I would gravitate towards. But a nice way to ease ourselves into this list. Well, it's not actually a nice way to ease ourselves into
it. Honestly reminds me of old Jump for a Cowboy back in their Doom era, which is fucking great. Something like that, yeah. like Entombment of a Machine, Beat, all those classic.
I kind of feel like this kind of band, and I might say this, I probably don't say it a lot, but it's like this kind of band is something that I would probably enjoy a lot more if I were going and seeing another band and they were opening, and maybe I just didn't expect a very, very heavy band like this to play first.
Yeah,
and
it definitely takes me back to all those summer slaughters.
I feel like if I was maybe at a show and this band was playing and I was at the bar trying to order a drink, I'd be like, oh shit. Actually, never mind. Hold on. Let me get out of this. And just like get in there.
Shirt off and just start moshing like crazy.
Yeah, it's just like they got that sound. They got that core sound going.
And I fucking love that album art. That is so good.
I can barely see it, but what is that?
It's just a house. It's just like a
house with a crazy ass color filter on it.
Yeah, it's just like a house. It's just a house. You know, it's just like a really old house, like taken.
Very depressing.
From like an overgrown field. It reminds me so much of like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And god damn, I just love that aesthetic so much. So
this kind of music definitely shapes
depraved like this. Yeah.
It's got like pretty little support. So come on.
Yeah, it's also only $5 for a physical, which is really good.
If you're into deathcore, come on.
Yeah.
Come and listen, go give them a little push.
Give them
solid.
Give them some of your money.
This shit is solid for sure.
Yeah, dude.
I need to stop saying for sure.
Now, I mean, to be fair, we actually have 4 bands to talk about today, which is a little unnatural for our lists, which is fine, in my opinion, because, we're the ones doing it. We can write the rules and change them.
Well, but, until the record label tells us.
Fuck those guys. But the one thing I'll say, like, I did kind of find unfortunate about this list is, like, we like to, like, find bands that have really, really low support, because it shows that the likelihood that you've heard the band is increasingly small. And obviously it means more for us, it means more for the listeners that very highly likely you haven't heard of them. And at the same time, it probably means more for the band, well, presumably. And all 3 things combined are great. But this list, as it will continue, you'll see the supported by get more and more and more, until our last one, which is kind of more of a cop-out, I think, in that it was like a Bandcamp list. It was like, oh, this band was the front and center. Like, all right, I'll check it out. How good could it possibly be? Well, it was actually really good. So we included it as a mention, but well, I mean, not just a mention, but they definitely didn't need the support. But the other 2 do not have a lot of support, and they're extremely good death metal bands.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have fucking shin splints, and that's like all I can think about right now is how much my legs hurt and how much I want to cut them off at the knee.
Well, is that one of the songs you were naming?
I don't think so. Maybe. It might be one of the ones for the next band. They have the real, like, classic Cannibal Corpse type names.
Yeah, I feel like this band is like one of those bands that they're like big on shirts. They probably sell a lot of shirts at their shows. And just like, yeah, just love that.
Maybe.
Those were the days. Those were the days of shirts with unreadable band names.
Yeah.
Waiting for the merch booth. open up. Waiting too long. But, you know, that's what I'm doing. When I close my eyes, I'm standing in the work booth. Standing.
Is it? Yeah, I was like you.
I'm working for the band, selling merch.
Your music makes me think of working for you. The fuck? I hope not.
Well, yeah, excuse me everyone for maybe being a little bit slurry. Me and my gracious co-host have been up for a while. Well, I guess I don't know if you've been.
I've only been up since 2 p.m.
Oh, well, never mind. I've been up for a while. I've been up since 2 a.m.
Like I said, I work graveyards, so if I'm ever awake before noon, not only is it a miracle, but it is a really shitty miracle.
One of those shitty miracles.
Yeah. I wish I worked days.
Shitty miracles.
I call dibs on death encompassing. You can call dibs on shitty miracles.
Yeah. Thick and sludgy. There you go.
Yeah. Thick and sludgy with a side of pig squeals and brie-bries. Evan, you ready to really move on to our next offering?
Yeah, there's only a couple seconds left here.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, beautiful people, fam light, and all that is in between. Our second offering we have for you today is a band called Abhorrent Deformity. Their album Slaughter Monolith. We'll be starting with Symptom Conception, which is it's kind of like an intro track. So I don't really feel too bad talking over it, but it is less than a minute away from getting real heavy.
These death metal bands never cease to amaze me with the incredulous band names and album names. Slaughter Monolith. I mean, like, for fuck's sake.
It's that's good.
Who's coming up with this shit?
I like the last one down here. I don't know if you can see that, but it was Entity of Malevolence.
That's a Dark Souls boss, basically.
Yeah, dude. There's song names. For any who can't see it, I'll read them off to you because they are so Cannibal Corpse. Just in that greater vein of pure brutality. We have Symptom Conception. I'll read them all NPR, all whispery and sexy. We have Symptom Conception. We have Sexually Transmitted Coma.
Oh my god, I couldn't read that one.
Mutilated Womb. 2016 Esoteric Model. 3-piece flesh suit of blood and cum. Fine Art of Amputation. Swamp of Intestines. Necrotizing Fascists. Yeah, Swamp of Intestines is very Dark Souls. Purification through bodily dismemberment. I thought it said disembowelment. I'm sorry. I failed you all. Vermin Burial and Unspeakable Perversity. Yeah. Brutal with a capital V.
Yeah. This band is pretty sick. It's like they definitely have they stick to a very like a traditional death metal sound, and which I don't say in a pejorative way at all, because I think to stick to the roots and the traditional sound of death metal, it is so much better to me than the strings, jet and all these other.
You okay? Did you see a ghost?
I just fell over there. Anyway, it'd be nice to have an office.
Yeah.
Outside
an office
and flies and all that. Anyways, so this is like the kind of band where they definitely like I was saying earlier. When it comes to death metal, I think it kind of comes down to a handful of tropes. You take your tropes, you take your double bass, you take your thick distorted low end guitars, you take your growled vocals, and
scream.
Or scream,
or
and,
both,
and you mix these things together, and depending on sort of the cocktail you come up with, that's how you really make yourself stick out.
Well, what's kind of added to like death metal, not really death metal without death.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if your songs are about cherry blossoms, it's probably not very death metal. A lot of death metal is rooted in morbid obscenity, which is great in its own way. Certainly, that's why I use Cannibal Corpse as like my static medium, in that they're very notorious for having just over the top putrefactorous artwork. I don't think that's a word, but we're gonna roll like it is. Just really over the top death and dismemberment and gross out kind of stuff, and it's kind of awesome. Yeah, and it's kind of, I think, just a staple in death metal is death.
Yeah. No.
Brutality, morbidity.
And I guess how I can say I confidently far prefer a sound like this of this band rather than the previous band, because I feel like, especially when it comes to the vocals, I like how there is like a play between like straight growls, like gutturals, and like just a push vocal.
Oh, I really like deathcore, I will say, but I do agree. I'm a bigger fan of death metal as a greater whole, blackened death metal as well. But yes. Do you remember the band Waking Cadaver?
Jeez, like barely. Yeah. What was the song they made?
The really famous one?
Yeah, it was
Chase
Chase Through the Woods by
a Rapist?
A Rapist, yeah. That was that song got played 4,000 times in a little green iPod. For
that was one of those, like, that's really a show for the time, I think, of like back when they were hitting the scene. Everyone's like, dude, that's so fucking edgy, man. That's crazy. They wrote a song called Chase Through the Woods by a Rapist, and it's about a guy who's a rapist chasing a woman through the woods. He's like, yeah, that's fucking edgy for sure. I just remember like how really bad the music was as a whole. It's just like pure chugs and like,
well, especially when Avenged Sevenfold is on MTV and Evanescence, and it's just like, then you hear shit like this, and it's like, or like the deathcore stuff, and it's just like that stuff seems so edgy and it really makes you want to be rebellious as a young, impressionable teenager. So that's just my experience. Your mileage may vary, because obviously we have our roots are in that kind of music, but some people were probably really disgusted by that and they didn't care for it, and that's great. You know what?
I think it's just kind of, it's funny, I guess, in the way that, like, looking back on things that, like, at that time you're like, yeah, man, cool, dude, sure, whatever, that like now in 2018 you're like, whoa, what the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, not too dissimilarly to like the whole controversy that's going around with like the fucking Matt Groening and Apu and things like that, where it's like, at the time people are like, who gives a shit, it's funny. And now people are like, dude, that's very culturally insensitive. And it's one of those things that, like, if you put your mind back into the day when you first watched The Simpsons, yeah, you probably didn't really give a shit. But now, being more like socially conscious, it's it's like, yeah, it is kind of crazy to think that flew for so many years.
Yeah,
it's interesting to look at these things in hindsight.
Yeah,
and that was where my brain went to with thinking of Waking Forever.
Yeah. Let's see, how far is it until Blood and Truth?
It's a while, but we can just jump into it.
Yeah, I wrote that one down as a standout because that one I think was interesting with its slow burning start. That's pretty wicked when we get into it. This was a good one.
Yes, indeed. I wonder what Tucker Carlson had for dinner. Probably a steak that he forced a vegan to watch him eat.
Probably steak.
Probably steak.
A tube steak. Finger steak.
Finger steak? What the fuck is finger steak?
I'm wearing the pop filter like a veil. It's kind of nice, actually. It's blotting out the world. That's what the whiskey's doing too. Drinking a little bit of whiskey.
Who provided your whiskey?
It's well, I'm drinking it out of a fucking Jim Beam thing, which is lame because this is the good shit. This is some Woodinville whiskey.
Woodinville whiskey out of Woodinville, Washington. It's real good whiskey. So, we sure would like an endorsement, Woodinville whiskey. Is that No, it's fucking good. It's good whiskey.
Oh, it's good, smooth.
Real good. From two whiskey aficionados. And I don't feel weird or awkward about saying that one. We're both very big whiskey fans. I show it to my friends who like whiskey, and they're like, boy, that sure is whiskey.
Yeah. For people who are into this sort of thing, that's the thing you'll be into.
That is fermented corn juice, that is.
Yeah.
No, it's real good. No.
Corny. Yeah, these riffs are just tight. These riffs are tight, bro.
His screaming reminds me a lot of Randy Blythe too, which is very interesting because it's a very different style of music.
Yeah.
But fuck, it's good, man. That's some good Lamb of God.
Yeah, like this is it is interesting because I actually had like a note about Lamb of God next, but
soon enough.
I'm supposed to say that. I'm supposed to pretend it's all just a surprise.
Yeah, everything happens naturally.
No, but anyways, no, I keep notes. I'm kind of I'm one of those thinkers. I do a lot better when I have little notes.
I do a lot better when I have something to riff off of, which is great that you keep notes, because I don't, and I just kind of riff off of what you do. Yeah. That's not entirely true, but it's partially true.
But yeah, so like, it's just nice, like fun, legit, definitely. It's just tight, and it's like very much
legit, man. It's lit.
Yeah, it's very inherent to a core sound, and they owe their sound obviously to quite a list of bands before, and of course their aesthetic too. Yeah, it's just quality.
How many times have you used the word lit this week? Ironically or not. I'm going to tell you straight up, out of all the modern lingos that are in our American lexicon, I unironically like the word lit. What I like about it is like it's such like an intense of a word, but also just I don't give a fuck. Like, it's kind of like what cool was in, like, 2002. Somewhere, like, between 97 and 2002. People would be like, cool. You know what I mean? Like, be like, lit. Yeah, man, that's lit. Nobody's like, fuck, that's lit. Like, that's fire or whatever. But...
You know, that's weird. I remember, I remember from my whole life,
apathetic.
I've been saying dude, and I feel like dude will never go out of style. But like, I feel like, I remember when I remember like when Napoleon Dynamite came out, I said sweet all the time, and now I fucking cringe when I hear people say that. So that went out of vogue pretty quick. I mean, sometimes you can say it ironically. That's sweet, dude, that's sweet. I say bro probably too much. People say that nowadays. I like to limit how much I use it because it's nice it's a nice gesture to use for your real bros.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not just for any old rando.
I only call people bro who I am both romantically and sexually involved with. Hey bro, stop fucking calling me that. Alright dude, sorry.
Yeah.
Nah, words are words. Whatever. Use what you want. Or don't. Or don't use any. Just stop speaking entirely.
Or just listen to death metal.
Yeah.
Listen to it specifically.
Pacifically?
Specifically.
Speaking of, are we ready to
I think that's probably not bad.
Yeah. So with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to our third offering band. All right, people, we're with our third offering tonight, the band Meyer and their album Shed, and this is Lightless by Meyer off of Shed. So, firstly, let me say, fucking A, that album cover is great. It just looks like literally just like a flea.
Yeah, that's
so good.
It's gnarly. I'm into it. See, it's like, yeah, it's kind of like a nice stray from the typical. I mean, it's still very fitting with like the aesthetic, but
minimalist.
It's minimalist, and it's not. Well, believe it or not, as like playful and weird as we are. Well, I guess I can all speak for myself. The like super like hyper vulgar aesthetic of a lot of death metal. It doesn't really do much for me. So it's nice to see.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's nice to see something that's like a little more like could be acceptable.
Yeah.
Safe for work.
Yeah.
SFW. It's nice, but
yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
I guess my first like thought when I we got into this band reminds me of another band I listened to a lot when I was a teenager. Acacia Strain.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They have a lot of like a lot of similar tones. I think particularly with like the guitar work, like the pinch harmonics and like that. I don't know how to explain it. It's that sound like the snare. It's like a
the Faceless did that a lot.
Yeah, it's like I think they must be like, I don't know if they're like
mainly academic,
like strumming the behind the nut or something. I don't know, but they're doing something that's like it's making like a really.
I'll show you how to do it later. It's not.
Like I got.
It's entirely straightforward.
Yeah, I mean I got down on some on that kind of music. And Chimera, actually. Chimera was another band.
Yeah.
Those bands were really fucking tight, brutal. And also this gets pretty groovy, and that's what I was talking about when we got things.
Right.
I think it's definitely like right here. This is big time. Like I'm like, my God.
That reminded me a lot of. I actually was listening to Redneck last night by Lamb of God.
I'm gonna put on my other headphone real quick.
Oh yeah. This reminds me, there's another band this reminds me of too, but I can't think of who it is right now. It'll come to me.
Ooh. These flies are biting me like the flea.
I will say too, I do really like how unsuspecting all of their logo, the artwork, and everything. Like, you'd look at that and be like, I have no fucking idea what kind of album this is. I really, really like that. Like, it's cool when you have the death metal logo that looks like a bunch of tree branches taped together, but you have no idea what the fuck it says. You're like, yeah, that's a death metal band for sure, or deathcore or whatever. But I really appreciate bands that break outside of those genres. It's really cool. Mm-hmm. Refreshing.
Denver. Did I say Denver?
Yeah, Denver, Colorado.
Damn eyes shut.
I keep offering you my glasses, but you don't wear them.
Dog, I've never been to Denver. I'd like to go. I'd like to go to Denver.
People's Republic of Denver.
Denver, yeah. Yeah,
they weed in Denver.
Legal weed in Denver.
Yeah, that in Washington too. It's a great thing.
It's great.
Yeah.
Jelly? The jelly rest of the country?
Well, there's a lot of places.
Yeah, there are a lot of places.
Thank God.
Yeah. And the federal prohibition, man. Feel the burn. That's old. So old. In fact, he was old. But anyways, yeah, I feel like my commentary contribution to this list has been kind of like limited so far, but I mean, I don't know. I guess I have.
It might change on the next artist.
I have I have pretty similar thoughts as far as this band goes. Is just like, with the rest of these, it's just tight. I mean, it's just tight, fucking metal.
Like, you and I were talking before this whole dang diddly list happened. One thing. Yeah, right? One thing we kind of wish we saw more in heavier strains of metal, or honestly really just metal in general, and that is the use of different scales.
Yeah.
Because like as it is now, it's almost always like metal is almost exclusively like minor, Phrygian,
harmonic minor,
Phrygian dominant. Yeah, you never see. There's like never major songs, never Lydian songs. I don't know. I don't know if I could think of a song that was in Dorian. Sorry, we're getting a little music theory here.
Oh, so like a metal song, like a death metal song in Dorian?
Well, metal in general, but sure.
That's
I can't think of one.
Like, I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but.
And, being a fan of progressive metal, especially one of my favorite bands of all time, Between the Buried and Me, Lydian and major are things that they get into all the time, and they can still rock it in a really heavy context. Songs like Astral Body and Prequel to the Sequel are heavy as fuck, but they still have that, uplifting, like, happy feel. And, granted, both of the songs go into minor keys and everything, but they have major keys, and it's cool, it's different, and it's exciting, and I think it'd be cool to see that in more metal bands, but I'll probably be holding my breath for an awfully long time.
God, I don't know why.
That does it too, now that I think about it.
I don't know why that's a band I haven't really been thinking of this entire list. Between the Buried and Me. God, they're an enormous influence on both of our, like,
dude, we literally
thinking.
we had a fucking band that was extraordinarily similar for the longest time,
and I mean, we've been to many shows of theirs, and
that's true.
Bought all their records, and I think they're still doing it. I mean, I think they're really.
Got to hang out with Dusty Waring a couple years ago for like an hour. That was awesome.
That's great. He's a super nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
Really nice guy.
Cool people.
Very, very humble. He definitely doesn't. I mean, no band members are obligated to to do those kind of things, but he just genuinely wants to hang out with fans.
Yeah.
He wants to just talk about music. And
What's up,
play
Dusty?
music and,
Hope you're doing good.
yeah, that dude is he's kind of a cool guy.
Fucking cool people. I mean, fuck their music, but
Yeah. No, but
those
yeah.
douchebags.
Between the Bear to me was like it's really big. Was extremely big for I mean obviously for you, but for me speaking personally, it's like they
That's all of their albums. Yeah, they're pretty big for me.
they're probably. Well, I guess I'm just like my specific thoughts on their music. It's just like they're like the only band. They have such a unique sound. They're like the only band that like does what they do, and that is like jump all over the place, but it doesn't sound like a mess.
Yeah.
It's very like.
Well, see, and that's I mentioned this in the prog rock episode, which, you know, if you haven't watched it, do it. But to me, to say like my music is progressive means what I am doing musically has never been done before. Now, that might be to a really, really minor degree. Like, it's like, oh, it's really akin to bands like King Crimson and Yes, where it's, you know, more like noodly and off the wall, but it is still very unique to my sound, even if it's kind of akin to those other artists. But to say like I'm a progressive artist in whatever genre means that truly your sound has to be unique. If it's not progressive. You're not progressing anything within your genre. And there's a ton of bands that use the term progressive as a buzzword, and fucking nothing pisses me off more than hearing a band that sounds exactly like 100 other bands, just with the smallest variation, if even that. They're like, oh, but it's progressive because this other band that did it, they also called their music progressive. Whether it was or wasn't is entirely irrelevant. Nothing pisses me off more. And I won't name names because I'm already talking enough shit at this point, but God, that pisses me off. And, you know, I think like the concept of gent was a huge thing with that too, that bugged me. With like Meshuggah doing their sound was really progressive and genuine and unique for the time. And then a bunch of people started doing the same thing, and again, I won't name names, or doing extremely similar music. And they're like, oh yeah, but a lot of people view Meshuggah as progressive, so we are too. And that's not true. It's not to say that some of the bands that have that genty tone aren't, but a lot of them are.
I think I read that Meshuggah just recently apologized for accidentally inventing June.
Really? That's funny.
And you know, it's interesting. I was listening to Violent Sleep of Reason just the other day. Like, dude, they're still just fucking out there, just slaying. And like, you know, it's interesting to go and watch old videos of Sugar in the 90s, like sounding.
Remember getting down to New Millennium Cyanide Christ for the first time?
Yeah, sounding the way they did, and in the 90s, like watching these videos of like
pioneers.
You know, back when grunge was turning into post-grunge, like these guys were making this music, which is like such a harbinger for, you know, what was to come, and all the shitty stuff there was to follow on the coattails of it. But
yeah, I hate to say, if you're ever expecting the first cut jet, that probably won't ever happen. I'm sorry to get your hopes up or let them down respectively, but that probably will never happen.
We're very proud to be independent thinkers, and we've come to our own conclusions that a lot of that kind of music isn't worth my time.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I still rock some of those bands here and there. Shit, I mean, I saw Periphery, I think, on their very first tour. But I think. I could be wrong, but I think. Yeah, just not really with its own home in my heart. I do miss the safety fire, I'll say that. Not that they're really genty. They're not even really metal, in my opinion. But fuck, that was a good band. Smash that like button if you remember the safety fire. How's it going, Sean? And everyone else?
Go ahead and unsubscribe.
Yeah, smash that unsubscribe button. Throw your fucking computer out the window in a blind rage.
Go ahead and actually flag this video.
Come to Evan's house.
Come to my house
with a fucking torch and pitchfork.
I was like about to say my address, but I'm like, what if there's just one person out there who's just going to be so dedicated that they're going to send me
oh man, wouldn't that be funny?
Or something?
Wouldn't that be funny if I actually murdered that guy?
Yeah. Okay, I'll just say this. I'll say I live on. No, I won't even say that.
Don't. I wouldn't even say the fucking town you live in.
Well, I wasn't going to say the town, but I was going to say like, okay, my house number is 409.
That's already too much. I'm not giving you my
So you know house number is 409. I live in Washington, so go ahead and use your fucking detective powers. Figure it out and just ring my doorbell and just say what's up. And please don't send me a fucking nail bomb or anything weird like that. Or anthrax or any of that weird shit.
Give him a big old kiss on the mouth.
Give me a kiss on the mouth. That's cool. Sometimes my lips get dry and I need a stranger's spit.
I need to feel a stranger's tongue in the back of my throat.
And it's definitely like, yeah, it's nice. The surprise of it is what really gets me.
That really sells it, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm getting really tired of the predictability of knowing who I'm kissing when I kiss them. I just want it to...
When I kiss my wife, I have to fantasize that she's a complete stranger in corpse paint.
Yeah,
that'd be something. Show up to Evan's house with corpse paint. Can we seriously make corpse paint like societally acceptable? Because corpse paint is fucking badass. I would love to go to Safeway and corpse paint.
I was at Costco today. I saw a guy who had his face painted, but I think it's for a completely different reason.
Was it in corpse paint? Because it would have been.
No, yeah. I mean, it just had white face.
Was he a mime?
I don't know what the hell he was doing. It almost freaked me out. Like, I don't know if that was like a...
Corpse paint is fucking dope.
Yeah.
If I ever start a family and said person is down, I'm totally making a fucking corpse paint and Christmas sweater Christmas card.
Well, yeah.
If I do meet somebody and they're not down for that, then I won't start a family with them.
Well, I have a buddy who I used to work with. He's all into corpse paint. He's all into black metal. He's in a band called...
Is it who I think it is?
Brother.
Okay.
He's in a band called Opropo. Opropos.
Go follow them.
Go check them out. They're on Bandcamp here, and they're fucking sick. They're out of Bellingham, and they're sick. So,
Bellingham, Washington. Not Bellingham, Saturday. There might be one. You don't know.
Don't fucking know. You never know. But when are we gonna colonize other planets for this bullshit? Dude?
I think we've done enough colonization historically.
Yeah. I was about to go on like a facetious anti-rant, but then I realized people would just take it seriously. They wouldn't realize that I'm fucking joking.
I think each episode we become slightly more politically involved, which is funny because I remember many episodes ago being like, we will not talk about politics ever, and it's just like, it's kind of
politics in the workplace is so workplace.
Is where I work. A little squeaky clean of the person.
It kind of reminds me of White Army.
Does it?
Yeah, like the vocal thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like their second album.
Yeah.
Go fucking check out White Arms of Athena. It's one of my favorite bands. I discovered them this way, and it was just so long ago that I don't think it's fair to include. Otherwise, honestly, they'd be on my progressive metal list. Fuck. But that's a great band.
Actually,
right there.
that's really interesting that we say that we
all of their albums, shirts, all of it.
Because their second album, White Arms of Athena's second album, was recorded
self-titled
by a fellow,
Kurt
Ballou from Converge at Godhead Studios, and that actually I had a note about that for the next band.
Oh, really?
So it's almost like a weird.
Do you know who did their first album?
No.
It was Jamie King.
Oh shit.
Yeah, right. Between the Buried Me and then Converge, which is actually really funny because you can really hear the influence, I think, of both producers and the albums. They're so remarkably different. They're both great albums, but go check them out. Great band. Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. Next artist.
Okay, family. We're on with our last pick for the dang diddly Eve Diva.
Boy, what a pick.
What a pick. This is the one that I'd said I felt was a little unfair, but we included it as a fourth entry just because they have so much support. They were a Bandcamp featured band, but they're just so fucking good that we couldn't not include them. So if you haven't heard them, hopefully now you have. This is Succumb by Succumb. We're starting with The Initiate. This I would consider more blackened death metal, which is a phenomenal subgenre.
Yeah, I mean, God, it only takes
Fucking
a
album cover,
couple
amazing.
seconds. It only takes a couple seconds out, for this thing to start, and already, like, he's ripped. It's like
brutal. So good.
it's just like, yeah, like, see, this is what I was saying with, like, this, I mean, I don't know who recorded this. I mean, I doubt it was recorded, but it just, this seems like something that he would be involved in.
Yeah.
It's definitely got, like, it's got, like, I think it's got, like, it's in my ears, my idea of what metalcore should sound like. It's got, like, that kind of tone to it.
Would you call this metalcore in your mind of minds?
I would. I think mainly because like it's got like the very it's got that hardcore intensity, especially when the vocals come in. For the vocals, like they're very non-traditional. And, they're very like unique, and I'm into that.
The vocals remind me of another band that I discovered a while ago, a progressive metal band of all things, called oh boy, I hope I'm not going to butcher this one. Hadean, Hadean. Really cool little band. I've shown them to you before, I remember, but they're like really like ambient for heavy metal, and they have a lot of saxophone in their music of all things. And it's fucking sick.
Yeah.
It's another band really worth checking out. I think their album was called, I'm not going to look it up, I'm trying to go off the dome. I want to say it was called On Leaving. God, it's good. It's real good.
Yeah.
Not to take away from Succumb.
Well, yeah, I feel like, and I mean, especially since like, I mean, band being from San Francisco. I mean, San Francisco has such a fucking pedigree for great like thrash music and great punk rock.
Yeah, true.
And like and hardcore. And so like I think like maybe some of that that's where some of that kind of came from. But it's like some of the vocals, man, they're like so like
super lo-fi funk.
Yeah, very like creepy, like
fucking great.
Yeah, it's like someone just like a madman yelling in an empty warehouse. It's like so so fucking good. Like the way it sits in the mix, it's just weird. It's just weird, and I love weird. So it's legit. I kind of like the way they put the eyes in the feature.
Too legit, too lit.
The little glasses.
Yeah. Laughing at me, but suck cum
They're sick.
Yeah. After listening to a song called Of Blood and Cum, that's all I can think of, bro.
Yeah, so this band's got something right, clearly.
Oh yeah.
They're doing it right. They got the following. I think they really deserve it because it's. This is legit. I'd definitely go pay to see like a band like this.
True.
I mean, I'd probably like regret it the day after. Agony, pain, body would be a little worse for wear. But
Yes.
it's just like you can imagine from this band like a little club and just getting ruined. And yeah, like, you know, was this the band you were saying had like the blackened feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I mean, it's. I agree. I mean, yeah, it's got a little bit of that
Ouch.
too. Yeah, it's just got that. Well, I mean, yeah, almost like a crust punk sound too, which of course crust punk and black like have very clear links.
Crust punk would be a fun listen to.
Oh fuck yeah, God! I just thought about that. You didn't. That would be.
I will fucking eat you in your sleep.
You get up to like my hips and I'm like, what the fuck, man?
It's got my fucking jaw dislocated. Like an anaconda.
No, yeah, it's just like a really gnarly, nasty, like slamming the guitar as hard as you can kind of attitude to it. And definitely that's how, that's where I feel like the blackened part come in. Whereas like death metal kind of has like the feeling of like, you're not necessarily hitting the guitar as hard as you can, but the distortion is so high that it doesn't matter. You just touch the string and it's just heavy. For this, I feel like the distortion isn't all really that high, but they're just playing so aggressively.
Yeah, you're probably right. Gain is probably at like a solid 70 or fucking 80%.
Let's see, the band using a lot of pedals. But I don't know.
You mean like rose pedals?
Maybe
Sunflower pedals?
interesting. It's like the rat.
That's a good tone, though.
That's
Is it?
that it is. No, not mine.
Oh.
I wish,
Saying like
bro.
it's literally on your pedal board. I'm like, I don't remember that.
Cool. No, that'd be sick. I'd be kind of looking for something.
Yeah, you just used a red llama by Way Huge. Mr.
that's-
Red Llama.
That's right, yeah. No, that pedal is.
That'd be a fun jumping off point at some point. Just like talking about like guitars and tones and effects and shit. Smash that like button.
Smash the like button.
If you want to hear more about guitar tones and shit and what we use and all of that.
Yeah, like also like I was trying to think of clickbaity stuff like Fortnite, PUBG.
I don't think people play PUBG anymore. I think it's all about that
that's right.
Fortnite.
Okay,
Fucking
well.
Clash Royale,
Clash Royale, like
fisting.
definitely like we talk about all that. Just definitely smash that like button if you're into Fortnite.
Smash that like button if you remember being a kid during the Crusades.
Yeah, right. Hang on. Someone had to spread Christianity.
Shit, I guess so.
Someone can do it.
If you remember
It's a dirty
the
job, and someone's got to do it.
if you remember the Edo age, smash that fucking comment button.
If you're as uncomfortable as I am, just standing here. I thought standing would be a little more comfortable. Chair was
Yeah, those hemorrhoids just aren't having it, huh?
feeling lumpy. Feeling pretty tired. I feel like I'm glad I'm starting to feel a little tired here at the end of the list, but
Yeah, that's true. Same. I'm super tired. Yeah, these videos, unfortunately, aren't just music. There's a lot of in-betweens. And those in-betweens can get fucking exhausting.
yeah. I feel like I'm balancing on a tightrope. I try not to smash anything. Try not to
Real close to stepping on your phone.
Fly. Was that how much?
I don't know, we're way off the fucking rails, though. If you remember Tamagotchi. Oh, man.
You remember Wonderwall? Smash the like button.
Can I just say Champagne Supernova is a way better song?
Oh, of course.
Way better song. Really similar in my mind, but still a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't Look Back in Ranger.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
Wrap this shit up.
good place to wrap up, and maybe this is where we give all the caveats about drinking and doing meth and all that shit.
Who the fuck talks about doing that? I've never once talked about doing that.
Basically, my advice is, you have agency in your own life. If you want to do meth, then do it.
No, don't do that. Do not do meth. I say that at the end of every episode, Evan. Don't sabotage the one thing that I've ever done consistently.
I just can't.
Drink, for sure.
I want to override anyone's freedom to life.
Fuck freedom.
Actually, I know. Fuck meth. I take. I definitely. You're gonna use your freedom to do meth, and you don't deserve freedom.
That's an interesting way of putting it. Replace your teeth with crack rocks, so you're never not high.
Oh, how are you gonna get rid of your teeth? Easy, smoke crack.
Yeah, and then replace them with rocks.
Disappear.
Here's the funny thing too. People, they'll never know the difference. You're like, why are you making weird sounds when you chew? Your teeth are crumbling. Oh, dude, no. It became like BDM ASMR.
Oh, man.
With all of that, good night, good day, good morrow, good sorrow. All of the fun things that you may have.
If you have a nightmare tonight, after you watch this, don't worry. I mean, it's just a nightmare. You're gonna wake up and it'll be just fine.
You're gonna have a nightmare. You're gonna see a visage of 3 donkeys, all with human faces. Donkey heads, but human faces. There are 3 of the 4 riders of the apocalypse. The fourth being Jeff Sessions.
One of the Eddie Murphy. Of course, he played it. He played probably the most famous donkey.
How's he doing?
I think he fell off. He's probably fat now.
He already did that in the Nutty Professor.
Yeah.
Give me something new. Oh boy, that was good. That was funny. So yeah, good night everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and or subscribe, and share it with your friends and shit. We do a fun thing here. We sure would like to do more of it.
Cool. Yeah. It's always a pleasure. Maybe one of these days I can be more focused. And not so.
I just hope one of these days you do this shit with fucking pants on.
I've poked you several times with the old worm a couple of times.
Those are the in-betweens. Those are the in-betweens that I have to deal with to make this shit take for all night.
is it doing on my shoulder? God damn
Yeah.
it.
What the fuck? What smells unclean all of a sudden? Smells
No,
like
but
onions. Anyways.
For real, if you could see me, I do have like my golf attire on. I look like a golfer.
Yeah, it's true, actually.
Anyways, take it easy. Have a good night.
Yeah, all of that.
And
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, everybody.